Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Chris Root. It's an honor to have you with us here today. For those of you that are new to the podcast, this is actually our second podcast that I've ever done, which is pretty incredible. And it's an honor to have you here at this podcast. We'll be doing a little bit of everything. Honestly, it's just right now it's doing a little what we call fresh fire at my home church. I go to church at Lighthouse Ministries in Bellevue, Kentucky. Pastor Samuel Diedenhofer, and we do what is called fresh fire sometimes, where we just get a verse and just talk about it or speak about it, whatever God puts on our heart. And I want this to be something like that as well. Just something that maybe God put in my heart, or maybe something I thought about, and just have a short discussion, nothing too long. And my goal here is hopefully this will impact somebody or maybe even your life in a mighty way. And if I can do that, then my goal has been met. Here at the Let's Talk podcast, we're going to go ahead and hop right into it. The verse I'm going to start with today is Genesis 1, verse 2, and it says, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters." I want to talk to you today about your emptiness. Simply, your emptiness. And hey, don't worry, I talk to myself as well. My emptiness. You know, it says here, it says in the beginning, it says, "And the earth was without form and void." It was empty. There wasn't grass, there wasn't water, there was none of that yet. No animals. It was empty. My kid's room, I wish I could say it was empty. If you walk in my kid's room right now, it's chaos. I would share pictures, but to be honest, I'm too embarrassed. Um, we ask them, "Hey, go clean your room, get your room cleaned up," and you walk in there, you can't even step 2 feet in sometimes because there's toys scattered everywhere. And of course, yes, we're to blame. Family's to blame on that. The kids' room is so empty that we still keep buying them toys. Um, you can say they're spoiled if you want, but what I want to talk to you about is emptiness, your emptiness. Yes, the earth, when Jesus, at the beginning here of Genesis, when he was creating the earth, it was empty. But if you read down through the other scriptures and the other verses, it talks about how something beautiful was made. The grass would grow, the waters would come together, and God would create something amazing from the emptiness. And I want to talk to you about that, about your emptiness. We need to, a lot of people today, you're going through stuff. I've said it before, you've heard it, this is nothing new. But I want to talk about maybe we should take a look on the inside, right? So it's so easy to look at others and say, "Oh, look at them. They're going through this, they're going through that." But we need to take inventory of ourselves. We need to look inward and see what is inside of me. And if what is inside of me, is it blocking me from God? Is it separating me from God? Is it separating me from the purpose that I have? The reason why God brought me and made me and put me on this spot in my life? Because sometimes we can have so much junk, so much stuff. I guarantee if I asked my children, I said, "Okay, go find this toy that we got you for Christmas last year, or go find this toy that we got you a couple months ago," I guarantee you they wouldn't be able to do it. Why? Because there's so much stuff in that room and so much junk in that room that it just gets lost within it. You see, lots of times we could fill our life with so much junk and so much stuff that we lose the meaning and the true purpose as to why we're on this earth. We need to look within ourselves and make sure that there's not so much stuff that we lose ourselves. I want to also bring up here real quick another verse. This verse is Matthew 21:12 through 14. It says, "And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought into the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them." Amazing. Of course, it's a popular verse. A lot of people like, here's where Jesus let loose. Here's where he just went crazy and started flipping tables. Let me explain something here. And I heard another minister say this, and I'm going to use it as well. It was absolutely amazing. At that moment when Jesus walked into the temple, the people that were in there, they were qualified. They were qualified to be in that temple. And what did Jesus do? He walked right into the middle of it and he kicked them out. And yet he brought what people would see as the unqualified into the temple. You see, they weren't allowed in there. The lame and the blind and those that were sick, they were not even allowed to step on foot into the temple. But when Jesus stepped on the scene, things changed. When Jesus stepped on the scene, he emptied the temple. He kicked the people out and then he brought the unqualified in and made them qualified. I don't care what mess you have. I don't care how much junk and stuff you have inside of your life right now that's going on. My God will step into the middle of it. He's not ashamed. He's not afraid. He won't let you down. He will step into the middle of your mess and he will make a miracle. I want to talk to you about your emptiness. When you become empty, when you look within yourself and you get rid of the junk inside yourself, how God will perform miracles in your emptiness. Let me give you an example. 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 3. About them, how many of you guys remember Elijah? It says, then he said, this is when he told the widow, he said, go borrow the vessels abroad all thy neighbors, even empty vessels, and borrow not a few. And what happened? See, she had one vessel of oil. And that one vessel, he told her, take that and pour and fill all these vessels and send your sons to go grab as many as they can. Not a few, but as many empty vessels as they can. And a miracle was performed that day using the vessel that she had, filling all the other empty vessels. My God can do miracles with emptiness. Look at John chapter 2, right? When Jesus' mother came to him because at the wedding, when they ran out of wine. So what happened? Jesus said, fill 6 pots, fill 6 empty pots with water, and then he turned them into wine. Very popular story, right? God can do miracles with emptiness. Now to that, look at this in Matthew 28, the empty tomb. An empty tomb, a miracle was done that day. Genesis 37, verse 24, another popular story. Joseph, right? His brothers cast him into a pit. And it says, and they took him and cast him into a pit. What pit? It says, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. God can do miracles with your emptiness. Joseph, after he was cast into the pit, right, he was sold by his brothers into slavery in Genesis 37. And then he had the ability to interpret dreams, which got him out of jail, right? And then he had favor with Pharaoh, and Jesus made a ruler over Egypt, second to Pharaoh in Genesis 41. And it says that Joseph lived to the age of 110, having known his sons and children and even their children in Genesis 50. My God can do miracles with your emptiness. So I challenge you today, as I do with all these other podcasts, I challenge you today to, you know what? Look within yourself. Do inventory within yourself. I challenge you to allow God to move in your emptiness. If you think you're not going to amount to anything, if you think you're not important or that God doesn't love you, let me tell you, you are qualified. You are qualified. And don't be afraid to take all the stuff out that doesn't need to be there, because once you do that, my God will step in the middle of it and he will bless you and miracles will come your way, because my God can do miracles with your emptiness. All right, guys. Well, hey, it was an honor being here today. Thank you so much for joining us and so much for being part of the Let's Talk podcast. Hope you guys join us for the next one. And we're signing off here, and you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.